The dark business behind EMIs.
Imagine you walk into a store to buy a smartphone worth $1,200.
The salesman smiles and says, "Don't worry about the price. You only have to pay $35 per month." Suddenly, the $1,200 phone doesn't seem expensive anymore. And that's exactly how millions of people end up buying things they never planned to buy. Today, almost everything comes with an EMI: phones, laptops, bikes, cars, furniture, even holidays. It feels like you're paying less, but are you really? Here's a simple question. If EMI is supposed to help customers, then why do banks and finance companies spend billions promoting it? Why are they so eager to give you a loan within minutes? The answer is simple. Because every EMI you pay is making someone else richer. In this video, we'll uncover the dark business behind EMIs, how companies use psychology to make you spend more, the hidden costs most people never notice, and how you can avoid falling into the EMI trap. So before you buy your next product on EMI, watch this video till the end, because it might save you hundreds of dollars. Chapter 1: What is an EMI? The simple truth. Before we talk about the dark side of EMIs, let's first understand what an EMI actually is.
EMI stands for Equated Monthly Installment.
In simple words, it's a way of buying something today and paying for it in small monthly installments instead of paying the full amount at once. Let's take a simple example.
Imagine you want to buy a smartphone worth $700.
But you don't have
$700 right now.
So the bank or finance company says, "No problem. Take the phone today and pay us every month." Sounds convenient, right? Now here's something most people don't realize. Your monthly EMI isn't just paying back the price of the phone. Every EMI has two parts. The first part is the money you borrowed. The second part is interest, the extra money you pay because the bank or finance company gave you the loan. Think of it like borrowing $1 from a friend. If your friend asks you to return $1 after a month, that extra $0 is the cost of borrowing the money.
Banks call this interest.
And this is where the real business begins. When one person takes an EMI, the bank earns a little interest. But when millions of people are paying EMIs every single month for phones, cars, homes, and other products, that little interest turns into billions of dollars. So EMI isn't just a payment option. It's one of the biggest money-making businesses in the financial world. But here's the interesting question. If banks are earning so much from EMIs, why do they make them look so cheap and attractive? Chapter 2: The psychology behind EMI.
Now that you know how an EMI works, let's understand why it has become one of the most powerful selling tools in the world. Imagine you walk into a store to buy a laptop.
The price tag says $900. At first, you might think that's too expensive. I'll buy it later.
But then the salesperson says,
"Sir, it's only $35 per month on EMI." Suddenly, your attention shifts. You're no longer thinking about $900.
You're only thinking about
$35. And this is exactly how EMI changes the way our brain makes decisions. Instead of focusing on the total price, we focus on the monthly payment. The amount feels small, so the product feels affordable even if it's actually expensive. This is called payment psychology. Businesses know that most people don't ask, "How much will I pay in total?"
They ask, "Can I afford this month's EMI?"
And that's a huge difference. Because once the monthly amount looks comfortable, people are more likely to say yes. That's why today you'll see EMI options almost everywhere on smartphones, TV, laptops, bikes, cars, furniture, and even vacations. The easier it feels to pay, the easier it becomes to spend. Now, this doesn't mean every EMI is bad. Sometimes it's genuinely helpful. But the problem starts when we stop looking at the full cost and only look at the monthly installment. And this is exactly what banks, finance companies, and retailers want. Because the more people choose EMI, the more money they earn.
But wait, if the monthly EMI looks so affordable, are you actually paying only the product's price?
Not really. Chapter 3: The hidden cost of EMI. So far, EMI sounds like a great deal. You get the product today, pay a small amount every month, and everything seems easy. But here's the catch. The monthly EMI may look small, but the total amount you pay is often much bigger than the original price. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you buy a laptop worth $900 on EMI. The monthly payment feels affordable, so you agree without thinking much. A year or two later, after paying all the EMIs, you calculate the total amount you paid. Instead of $900, you've actually paid around $150 or even more, depending on the interest rate and other charges. That extra money didn't go toward the laptop. It went to the bank or finance company as the cost of borrowing the money. And interest isn't always the only extra cost. Sometimes there are processing fees, GST, on those charges, and late payment penalties if you miss an EMI. Individually, these charges may seem small, but together, they can increase the actual cost of your purchase. This is why many people feel they got a good deal at first, only to realize later that they paid much more than the product's original price.
That's why, before choosing an EMI, don't just ask,
how much is the monthly installment? Also ask, how much will I pay in total by the end of the loan? That one question can save you a lot of money. But here's something even more surprising. Banks aren't the only ones who benefit from EMIs. Even the stores selling you the product have a reason to push EMI plans.
Chapter 4, Why Stores Want You to Choose EMI. At this point, you might be thinking,
if banks earn money from EMIs, then why do stores keep promoting them too?
the answer is simple.
Because everyone in the chain makes money when you buy on EMI. Let's understand this with an example. Imagine you walk into an electronics store to buy a TV. Your budget is $500, but then the salesperson shows you a premium TV worth $700 and says,
Sir, it's only $30 extra per month on EMI.
Now instead of comparing the total price, you start comparing the monthly payment. And many people end up buying the more expensive TV.
The store is happy because it sold a higher priced product.
The bank or finance company is happy because it gets a new loan and earns interest. Even the brand is happy because it sold a premium model.
In other words, everyone earns more when customers spend more.
That's why you'll often see big banners saying,
No Cost EMI, instant loan approval,
0 down payment, buy now, pay later.
These offers make buying feel easy and affordable. But remember, just because it's easy to buy doesn't mean it's the right financial decision. Sometimes these offers are genuinely useful, but other times the cost is hidden in the product's price or other charges.
That's why you should never decide based only on the monthly EMI.
Always check the total amount you'll pay and read the terms carefully.
Because the easier it is to say yes today, the more you might end up paying tomorrow.
And this brings us to the biggest danger of all.
What happens when one EMI turns into 2?
Then 3.
And suddenly your salary is disappearing every month.
Chapter 5, When EMI Becomes a Debt Trap.
One EMI usually doesn't feel like a problem.
You buy a phone and pay $25 every month.
A few months later, you buy a laptop on EMI.
Then maybe a bike.
Later, the credit card EMI. Individually, each EMI looks small,
but together they can become a huge monthly burden.
Imagine your monthly salary is $500. Asterisk phone EMI $25.
Asterisk laptop EMI
$35. Asterisk bike EMI $60.
Asterisk credit card EMI $45.
Now you're already paying $165 every month before you've even paid for rent, food, electricity, fuel, or other daily expenses. And if an emergency happens like a medical bill or losing your job, you still have to keep paying those EMIs. If you miss a payment, you may have to pay late fees, extra interest, and in some cases it can also affect your credit score, making future loans more difficult or expensive.
This is how many people slowly fall into a debt trap.
Not because one EMI was bad,
but because they kept taking new EMIs without thinking about the total financial burden.
That's why financial experts often say, don't ask whether you can afford the EMI.
Ask whether you can afford all your EMIs together. EMI is a useful financial tool when used wisely.
But if you use it to buy things you don't really need, it can quietly take away your financial freedom. So how can you use EMI smartly without falling into this trap?
Chapter 6, How to Use EMI the Smart Way. After everything we've discussed, you might think that EMIs are bad.
But that's not true.
An EMI is just a financial tool.
Like any tool, it depends on how you use it.
Here are a few simple rules that can help you make smarter decisions. First, take an EMI only for things that are truly important or necessary, such as a home, education, or something you genuinely need, not just because it's available.
Second, always check the total amount you'll pay, not just the monthly EMI.
A low monthly payment can sometimes hide a much higher overall cost.
Third, read the terms carefully.
Look for the interest rates, processing fees, late payment charges, and any other conditions before signing.
Fourth, avoid taking multiple EMIs at the same time.
Even if each one looks affordable, together they can put a lot of pressure on your monthly budget.
And finally, if you can afford to save for a few months and buy something without a loan, that's often the better option. It can save you money that would otherwise go toward interest. So, is EMI a scam?
No.
Is EMI dangerous?
Not by itself.
The real danger is using it without understanding its true cost.
The next time someone says, "Sir, this is available on Easy EMI," don't get excited immediately.
Instead, ask one simple question. How much will I pay in total? That single question can protect your money and help you make better financial decisions. If this video helped you understand the dark business behind EMIs, share it with someone who's planning to buy something on EMI. It might save them from making an expensive mistake. Conclusion. So, what's the biggest lesson from this video?
EMI is not your enemy.
But blindly trusting the EMI can become one of the most expensive financial mistakes you make.
Banks, finance companies, and retailers aren't offering EMIs because they want to help you. They offer them because it's a profitable business. The easier it is for you to buy today, the more money they can earn over time. That doesn't mean you should never choose an EMI.
It simply means you should understand the real cost before saying yes. The next time someone tells you, sir, it's only $35 per month, don't let the monthly amount make the decision for you. Instead, ask yourself 3 simple questions.
Do I really need this? How much will I pay in total?
Can I comfortably afford it even if an emergency happens? If you can answer those questions honestly, you'll make much smarter financial decisions than most people.
I hope this video helped you understand the dark business behind EMIs in a simple way.
If you learned something new, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel,
And share this video with someone who is
planning to buy something on EMI.
It might help them save hundreds of dollars.
And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.